What is up, YouTube? This is T-Quentin1 coming at you from the video, and today I'm going to talk about Star Wars Episode 6, Return of the Jedi, the conclusion to the original trilogy. Now, Return of the Jedi gets kind of a bad rap from some fans. I mean, its reviews were fairly positive from critics, and while it hasn't garnered near as much hatred as the prequels, it doesn't exactly have the acclaim of the first two either. Now, Return of the Jedi never reaches the heights that Empire Strikes Back did, but very few movies do, and I still think in its own right, it's a damn good film and a fine conclusion to my favorite trilogy. My favorite thing about Return of the Jedi absolutely is Luke Skywalker. This is really the film that made me love him so much. He's now a full-on Jedi Knight. He's calm, he's collected, he's efficient, and Mark Hamill's performance is excellent. The action scenes as well are still really fun and cool, though none of them outside of the ones at the end really come close to the scenes of the first two. The scenes between Vader and Luke, though, are another things that I just love in this film because it's so much more interesting now that we know that Vader is Luke's father. Their interactions are a lot more complicated than just Vader's the bad guy and Luke's the good guy. It's really well done. And there's some more cool locations in this film, though outside of Jabba's palace, which we honestly spend too much time in, none of them have the personality that Empire Strikes Back sets did. They just sort of feel par for the course. And there is, in contrast to Empire Strikes Back, very dark tone. There's a really lighthearted and fun feel to this movie, which is just fine. I actually really like that. And the dialogue is still great, particularly between Han and Leia. Their relationship continues in this movie, and it's awesome. It's just as good as it was in Empire Strikes Back. It's got a very fitting and well done ending too. Now, I do think it could have been done a little bit better, but I think as an ending to the original Star Wars trilogy, it's just fine. It's still really good, and this also has the best creatures, in my opinion, out of the original trilogy. Jabba, the Rancor, the Sarlacc. Even the Ewoks are kind of designed interestingly. It's really cool, and I think because the film isn't as good in terms of story as the previous two, it makes up for it with its visuals. And it's acceptable here because the story actually isn't half bad unlike the prequels. And one more thing I just absolutely love about this film is the Emperor. Is he hammy? Fuck yeah, he's hammy, but who cares? He's still really, really fun to watch. He's just a really evil character, and it was just great. But this isn't perfect like the first two films. There are some flaws in here. For instance, we spend too much time at Jabba's palace, as I already went into, and we also spend way too much time with the Ewoks. They're really annoying, and to be honest, they just feel kind of pointless. Another thing is the climax of this film feels like a rehash of the first movie. It's cool seeing another Death Star, it kind of brings it full circle, but at the same time would have liked something more original. I'll go into that quite again when I review Force Awakens. Stay tuned for that. Another thing, Jabba's dance scene is just, or Jabba the Hutt's palace dance scene is just cringeworthy. Even in the, whether it be special edition of the original trilogy, it just doesn't fit, and it doesn't even feel like you're watching a Star Wars film. I skip it every time I go to that part, and it's also, this film isn't quite as well paced as the first two. Now, yes, the first two slowed down in areas, but it was to build atmosphere, and the stuff they were saying was really interesting. This film isn't quite as interesting as the first two, so you really do feel it when the movie slows down. That being said, though, it is still a great movie, and I honestly don't see why so many people just shit on this film. I love Return of the Jedi, and I'm going to give it a 9 out of 10. No, it's not as good as the last two, but it's still better than the fucking prequels. Stay tuned next time when I talk about The Force Awakens. This is T-Quentin1 signing out.